Hey guys, Bear here. Today I want to check with you what we saw on the PTS this time. So the first thing I kind of like is this little new feature. We see it down here, lock, which means you can lock your items now. As you can see here, it gets a little lock symbol, and that means it's locked. You know, you can apply it to literally every item. You know, like to normal weapons as you see here, or you can just hop over to your armor and just kind of save your favorite items. Because I was always a little bummed about it that I used to use weapon skins, you know, and armor skins. So my stuff is protected and I'm not destroying it or, you know, some sort of dropping it because I always got the warning, hey, has a skin on it, you know. And then when they brought the scrapping for mods, even though it has a skin, you can scrap everything, you know. So to me, that kind of bumped me out because I was always too afraid. But now, as you can tell, when I click on a normal gun, you know, like this one, I can scrap it, which is fine. But even that one with the skin, I click on it and I can still scrap it. And that sucks. But now, look at it. You cannot scrap locked items. And for me personally, that's like one of the best changes. Because of the way how I can organize my stuff now. But it gets even, you know, it gets even better. Depending on how you see it, but for me it gets even better. So not, you know, not even junk can be scrapped. So if you collect rare items, you can just run around now. If you find them, you can lock them and then you're safe. Because I found rare junk items that I wanted to keep so often, you know, and then I went to my camp and I immediately scrapped them. Because I just forgot I picked them up a second ago, you know. And even with the ammo it works. And the good thing is you can lock and unlock it in the stash boxes and in the ammo boxes. So even if you forgot, you can do it in there. So it's really super helpful. And for me especially, the organizing part, like I said, because as you see, I have like some locked on top, some in the middle, so it's still a little messy. But then, as you remember, we have a sort function, you know, and that of course brings a completely new thing now, because you can sort by locked items. And that means now we have that wonderful situation, everything I locked, be it my XP buffs or my most important armor set or whatever it is, you know, technically also my favorite weapons. We all know I run around with 50 weapons, so if I have my favorite 15 ones on top of the list, I'm happy, you know. And the good thing is the sort function works for every rider, or however you want to call it. Like the weapons one can be organized in lock, the food can be organized in weight, however you want. So it's not for all of the riders, which is perfect. I will use the lock for all of them, but just saying. So, and especially with the new cards, I love to nuke a little bit, you know. But if I want to check if I have cards, I always need to scroll like a maniac. Now I just lock them. I go to lock for the search thingy, and, you know, now I see them all the time. So, but now some small depends might say, hey, Bear, do you think we can lock the junk? And so when we die, you know, it's still in our inventory. But worry not. Of course we test it, and let's say unfortunately, it's not working. You know, I did a little dive here, which I love. It was not a rectal, so a little unspectacular, but we still drop it. That would have been too nice, you know. But yeah. And I couldn't find any kind of number, like how many we can do. So I just went through the pane and clicked. I can't remember, to be honest. I wanted to go till 100, but then my little OCD kicked in, and then I went to nearly 200. And then at around 192 or something, I said, yeah, come on. It's enough. 192 is enough of locked items. So I feel like it's a super good new feature. I hope it comes to the live game and they don't change it up that much. The next new thingy is over here. It's a 8 storage box, and it does exactly what you think, you know. You can drop your 8 in there, like all the cams you have on you. You can just go completely crazy. It looks like it's same like the scrap box, but as you can see here, if it's locked, it's still not working. Same like with anything else, which is perfect. You can lock it, unlock it in here, so it applies to every kind of storage thingy. You have that quick transfer, which drops everything non-healing related in there. But the exceptions are the locked ones and the ones you have marked as favorite, which is super good. This one stays as well because it's favorite. So to get rid of it, you just have to go back to your normal inventory and use the favorite button. And then when the favorite button is gone, you can drop it in with the quick function as well. So you have different options to save the items you don't want to drop. But as you can see, bobbleheads are not going in, all kind of serums are not going in. What else we got? Magazines are not going in. The mutated packages, some sort of those bobblehead mystery boxes, like all that kind of stuff, unfortunately don't go in. But at the end we still save a ton of weight if we can have all the normal stuff over here. Like even lunch boxes, you know, and the scout banners go in. So for me, I really hope they drop it in the way it is. On the PTS it was only here in Nuka World, but the only little downside for me, I guess I would say, is that I really feel it will be first only, like it is with the scrap box and the ammo box. So even though it's a nice feature, but it will still be behind the wall, you know. And a new little feature which you can see here also, just for the funsies, is jumping damage numbers. So if you use them, now you can kind of have that funny little effect. On the big ones it looks even more funny, you know, it's just a little fountain of numbers. So let's see what the chainsaw looks like when you go in close combat. Yeah, you can... Okay, so never mind, you can check it yourself, but that was just a little fancy that I still kind of liked. But if it gets too many enemies, it might get annoying, you know. So, but let's start with the building. Look, we got a super nice organization tab now. Defenses, lights, resources, utilities, furniture, and with a lot of little under categories, you know, but look how beautiful. You can see every single item you have in that category. So that's for all the foundations. There is like, you can just go by the picture, you know. We have a sort function here as well, or a filter option, but it was not working. The only one that was working is the maximize minimize variation. But if you use the small one, you only see 3. And then you still have to click up and down, left and right. You see what I mean? I would still get confused. So for me, since I want to be quick and just kind of see what I have, I definitely will use the maximize one. So you always click one down for the next option, and then on the right side you see all the variations you have. It's super intuitive and easy. Some items are still placed a little weird, but that's more for the decoration parts. I was a little kind of, how to say, with the floors. Some items are on floors that I thought it's a little odd, but at the end, why not? You know, because as you can tell, if I go to floors, we have the catwalks here. And then we have the bridge pieces here, and even the water floating raft, you know, and the scaffolding and that's the wall one, for example, you know, the wall walkway. So why is it in floors? But at the end we only have 3 floor pieces, so it would be an empty section, so it kind of makes sense to maybe drop them in there. But the wall segment, that's still a little off to me. But at the end we just need time to remember where everything is, you know. And it really works the same with every item. You just go there and then it shows you your different skins that you have for them, or the different variations you can build. So it's super intuitive and easy. but I still needed some time to adapt, because a lot of items, it's definitely hard to categorize them, you know, where you want to drop them. So I get it. It's really not that easy. So that one is nice with all the flowers, of course, all the overgrown stuff, you know, the plants. But yeah, like I said, some you just have to get used to remember certain items are in a weird place. So like here we have outdoor, but all of a sudden there is those bridge pieces. But for me, and those ones, the highway. But for me, why are they in decorations outdoor? Because we have all the other ones that are like this in the wall, not wall, in the floor one. You know, there are the other bridge pieces. So it's a little odd with some of them, but maybe they even move them. You know, or we just get used to it and then we remember where we saw them. So yeah, to me it's great. I was super skeptical, but so far I really, really like it. And we have different variations for the placements now, of course. So if we kind of start placing them down, first of all, we have to get used to the new way of how the building works. Because you can jump between building, where you just choose your piece, and then modify, where you have editing and swapping out the color or placing the blueprint whatsoever. So sometimes you just click the wrong button and then nothing works anymore, because you realize, oh, I have to go back to edit, and then you realize, oh, I need to go first to build and then back to modify and then check if I'm on edit. So I got confused a couple of times, but I mean, it was the first time, the first minute, so it's definitely something we all, you know, can get done. So, and that's the snap version, which means that's the old school way, how it always worked. You grab it, and it snaps to the same piece. That's kind of if you still want to build like it was before. But I will show you later, in some situations I still like the old way better. Then we have that one, which is collide, and technically it collides with the same item, so you can't place it. With foundation it's a little different, but with other items later you can see it. They kind of jump on top of each other, you know, so it's not really working. And then the best new function is the free one. And with the free one you can really do whatever you want. So you can just swap through those three options depending on what you want to do. And the free one you can do, there are no limits, literally no limits. A handful of items are not working, like all the ones that are placed in water, they still can only be placed in water. Crops can only be placed on land still, you know. But other than that, as you can see here, I can just really do whatever I want. It works with every item. Stairs, walls, floor decor, anything. And just to show, that's the second floor that we usually never were able to place without a ladder and all that stuff. If you want roundish shapes, you can just go in a little circle. You see, it's just super easy. There are no limits anymore. It's super crazy. And the other thing, what I mean with like the old way and the new way, for me, for example, it's super easy now. I stay on snap, so they're all snapping on top of each other, you know. But now if I want to place it, it always jumps on top, which is not what I want. So I go to collide and it still does the same, like I said, because it's colliding. But if we go to free, we can just lift it up. We can, you know, like I said, there is no limit. Your creativity is all you need, and then we can just place them wherever we want. But now comes the part for me where it gets tricky for myself, the way I'm building and the way I set up some stuff. If I want to move that object now, because I want to do something else in between, I can't, because every item has their own box, you know, is their own anchor. So I can only move them all separately, or like the first block that I placed together. So I will still use the old way in some situations, which is like the typical one, you know, with the drop merge or however you want to call it. So I place them on top of each other, and then I just merge them together. I have the pressure plate on the ground. That's always a little jumpy, but they're still merging, you can tell. So, because that means I can still grab the lowest one, which is the anchor, and then I can move the object around if I want to change something in my camp. So, because with that one, like I showed before, you can't move it if you realize you want to switch something out or whatsoever. Now it's jumping because I'm still on snap. I forgot to change, you know, so it's always like some little steps in between now you have to remember to go to modify, edit, free, snap or not, you know. But that's why I'm saying, for depending on what you want to do, you might use the old school method or the new method. So, but you have the freedom to do whatever you want, and that's really great. I was so skeptical, and now I'm so happy if it comes live, you know. And I hope they just organize the last little parts. For blueprints, it was kind of sad because they weren't working, you know. I did some, but you can't place them or anything. Because promised was we can float items, make a blueprint, and then we can place them down, even floating. Because we all remember placing a blueprint and it tells you all the time, oh, it's not allowed floating. And what I want to show you too is one that I found super nice, because that was a thing we always had struggle with. You could get it done, but it looked always like super flickering and it was a little difficult. So now if you want some sort of one foundation and a half one, or like a floor, you know, you can just place the wall. And now since the walls are just clipping, I can just place it down. It's just moving a little wanky with my controller. So I just place it, and now it's 1.5 wall. You have a tiny flickering here. I don't know how good you can see it, but it's not the same like before when you had to free place them and merge them all around. You know, it looked way, way off sometimes. So that is a super clean version. To just be able to get that kind of little extra stuff in there. But that's the only negative thing I have to say right now. If you see the wall sets now, you have the main wall and then all the pieces below. And that means I still have to scroll, like I play for like 4 years now, and I have to scroll for like 2 minutes to find a wall set, because I have them all. So that's for me is still a little bummer. With the new organization, I was hoping they would give us all just one wall piece, you know, below each other, so we can tell which set. And then when we go to the right, all pieces are in there. Why do I still have to jump through all the triangles, all the slanted walls, you know, the same like it is here. One picture and then all of them. That would make it way easier technically. Because now I'm scrolling, and all those triangles and half walls I will nearly never use, and just to find the main set that I want. But maybe they still fixed it. I don't know. I will drop it in the suggestion thingy, so maybe some other people find that too, you know, and then maybe they change it. That's the only negative thing I have to say so far. Other than that, I'm really super happy. And the next thing is just to show it, because that's the other thing most people were kind of had super problems with. Now if you go to free placement, you can do whatever you want with the stairs as well. Because I needed a ton of blueprints and flip merges all the time to get like my A-frames done, and like round shapes, half round with stairs. It always needed like hours and days to figure those kind of stuff out, and now you can see I'm doing a poorly job, you know, I'm just racing through it, but if you take your time, you get it done perfectly. There is no interfering, nothing. So even stairs are now not the end boss anymore. And that brings me to the thing I wanted to show. For those that still have the worst case scenario, which always was you have a sky base or something, or even on the ground, and you snap 2 stairs together. You were nearly never able to get them detached, you know. But now with that method, it gets super easy. So I hope you know what I mean. Like if you have one of those here, and then you snap the other one on top, that was usually the end boss. That was not fixable The only way is to attach foundation stuff on the lower end and on the top end, but if you're in a sky base, that was nearly impossible. And now you can just, choose whichever one you want to do and you delete them. Which means if that gets live and you still have a screwed up base, you will be able to fix it finally. There is like no ugly stair anymore, no stair to hide, because you can just use floating floors, and all. So that will definitely help a lot of people. The only other interesting point I find is here in Point Pleasant. If you go there, you remember that bridge, right? In the event. So if we walk in now, it's finally open. And we can cross it to a certain point, There's a lot of Mossman stuff, a nice little effigy, or however they called up there. So it's a little construction site looking, wooden beams and all that stuff. And here they're starting to bring like a new ramp. But it's still closed if we try to go to the other side. You can't go that way. But that means hopefully we really maybe get that part of the map. Yeah, but that's about it. That's all we saw. The only other little negative thingy I want to point out, which is not a biggie, but look here. You can see that I have a little bit of tiny percentage stored, but I still can't see how much I used right now, because I would kind of prefer if they show us, okay, budget 38% used and how to say, like the 2% stored, just used and stored. And then we know how much we have left and how much we, it would just make it a little bit more easier, a little bit more quality of life. But other than that, I'm super stoked. I got my camp competition going on. If you want to join, it's in the Discord. I have everything in the description of the video. It was a long one, I'm sorry. So enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for watching and bye bye.